Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So I have my crystal ball off to the side. I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. And if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. I'm seeing like, it's kind of cartoony. I'm seeing like this giant cloud. It's kind of like blowing air. So it's blowing, and it's pushing the cloud backwards. There may be something that we're doing, some sort of action that we're taking that is making us move a little bit backwards, and that doesn't necessarily mean something bad. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, pushing. So it may be boundaries. Okay, so I don't feel that it's the starseed aspect of this, though it might be. I'll stay open to that. I actually feel it's the imagery. So there seems to be some sort of boundaries that someone is placing. It may have been that you had recently moved forward in a situation, then realized that you needed to have some boundaries, which takes you back a few steps, or you may have had to just take a few steps back, right? When we think about the process of like what the wind does, the wind clears things away, right? It moves things out of the way. And someone here, it seems like you're trying to keep your energy clear. You're trying to keep your way forward clear. But in order to do that, you may have had to withdraw from something here. Okay. I feel like this is really significant, but I don't know exactly how to read this right now. So I'm going to keep it in mind. We have these concentric circles that are happening right here. And with these concentric circles, it's almost like where they're touching her robe, they turn into these like spatters of light. So it's almost like something winds up. The moment something enters your aura or enters your sphere, its quality changes, its behavior changes. You may have had people around you who they would act one way and you would see them act one way, and it's not that that's not who they really are, but for whatever reason, once they get into your arena, now all of a sudden they start behaving differently. And it's a little Swiss cheesy, right? Like they're not necessarily cohesive in their personality anymore. And this tells me that you were probably really triggering for some people, and it doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. We can trigger people just by being ourselves very easily, especially if you're not somebody who kind of plays the game of like personalities, right? And there's something here that's speaking about that. There's like this cycle that we have had here in terms of people trying to take from us, whoever this message is. And because you're starting to push that energy away, you're going to notice that things start cycling back, right? This energy will continue to try to cycle back. And the important part is to not necessarily ever let your guard down. It doesn't have to be exhausting. The point is that have you learned the lessons, or were the lessons temporary? Because if you learned how to have boundaries temporarily, this energy will come back in. If you've learned how to have boundaries over the long term, then you're okay, right? This energy will always come at you. This is a human energy. This is something that's built into people. So there, here we have this almost sharp, flowery edge on the top of her, I'm going to say her aura. And what that's really speaking to me about is some sort of anger. Whenever I see someone's aura and I see like these sharp edges to it, they either got done with a conversation or they're feeling very sharp about something. So whoever this message is for, you're probably feeling this way right now. You're probably feeling very about some things, some venom there about some things. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way sometimes. I do see this mountain here that's backing whoever this message is for. So there's been some major lessons that have happened in your life. And this new boundary that you have is actually backed by some stable energy. So this is a person who is who has learned boundaries that are now fixed. These are like not temporary boundaries anymore. Here what we have is we have the tip of a rose that's unfolding. So this was part of you becoming your authentic self, not the whole authenticity, but just a little part of you becoming more and more authentic into who you actually are coming into this world and who you're meant to be, has had to manifest through the process of learning these boundaries. And so this boundary isn't just for you to have your sanity or for you to protect your energy. It's actually a part of who you are. Okay. And I don't feel that that was always the case. It may have been something that we did not understand that we had within us. I'm being drawn to the desert meets the stars. The desert meets the stars. Is that a song? Oh, I'm thinking where the desert meets the rain. There's something about that song. I don't even remember who does that right now. I'm way too far into this trance. But there's something about desert meeting the stars. Some of you may have some... Oh, wow, that just all of a sudden went to a very deep place. Some of you have some ties to like what now would be desert, I should say. Places, and being like a tender of like very old knowledge, right? A lot of the religions in the Near East, in Northern Africa, they really had a lot of like cosmic themes in them, right? A lot of old religions did. A lot of old shamanic traditions do. And there's something here about that, about the connection of the earth and the stars. So because there is this signature in there that feels a little bit like a holy person of some kind, whether it's a high priestess, a high priest, just some sort of holy person, this is probably why there has been a signature inside of your life that has spilled into early experiences, that has cultivated you to have energy that's way too open, right? We find this in exceptionally psychic individuals as well, and especially with the spirals that are around her head. Now it seems to be, however, that this openness of the psychic spaces that we're open to, they're mirrored by the lower realms, they're mirrored by the 3D, and so that same type of energy that we submit ourselves to, I don't know why I want to say cosmologically, but the types of energies that we submit ourselves to cosmologically. So you may have had experiences of spirits or deities or, any label you want to use there, whatever labels that we're trying to take from you or that we're trying to take advantage in some way. You may have that mirroring as well through people. And while you may feel for whatever reason that you have to remain open this way, remember that the boundaries run both ways, okay? It's okay to have boundaries in your cosmological escapades and your psychic escapades. Speaking as somebody who has a lot of mystical experiences, for sure. Maybe with the imagery of the mountain, you may even practice some form of shamanism. Let's see. Or practice shamanic journey. I'm just hearing like Mount Meru or Mount Kailash might be important for you. I have here with this card. Again, I'm not really seeing starseed, but don't forget I did get the desert to the stars. So there may be something about the starseed energy that you resonate with. You may feel that you're from elsewhere. But I'm almost seeing her as the Fool on the Rider-Waite Pamela Coleman Smith deck. And she's sitting on this cliff looking out. And there's this vast ocean, and this ocean is making me think of energy, right? So there's no end to the energy that this individual can see. Someone here, you may be extremely psychic, and you may be aware of that. Remember that being extremely psychic doesn't mean that it happens like in the movies or how people want to pass it off to you. This information tends to be very, very subtle, and not always, right? And so it's the non-subtle stuff that most people look for, but it's the extremely subtle information that I feel that modern psychic teaching, the clairs, really doesn't account for. And the vast majority of psychic information is extremely subtle. So if you can, for those of you who study psychism, I would kind of challenge you to drop the clairs, because if you drop those labels on things, you'll realize that there's actually a whole plethora, a whole sea of information that's out there that don't fit into those nice, tidy little packages. And it's extremely subtle. And if you can attune yourself to seeing that stuff that's taking place within you, you'll realize that you're probably pretty gifted. Here what we have is we have this, I don't know why I want to call this Jupiter. Jupiter's back here, but I keep wanting to call this Jupiter. So I'm going to call, oh wow, no. I'm gonna call it Jupiter. That's what we're beginning with. And so there's like this Jupiter, right? We're on the verge. Oh, that's why we're on the verge of some sort of expansion. For someone, it's necessary to learn these boundaries, both in your 3D, and within your. Oh my God, I got all the chills. Within your psychic spaces, because whatever the C is, it's about to expand. It's about to expand. Right now, it seems like we're dealing with some sort of, I'm getting like the Earth star, so like the human collective consciousness. And we do occasionally branch out, and we have these cosmos, and like yesterday's reading, the mythic layer steps through. However, what's about to happen is this is very, I'm going to call it interdimensional in some way. It branches beyond the constraints of time, because this is actually, you know, Saturn. It branches beyond the constraints of time, and it's expanding beyond something. So someone here, like, your psychic abilities are about to go next level. Fascinating. Okay. Let's pull some. Yes. Okay. Ooh. And when this happens, it's going to happen pretty fast. It's going to be very, very quick. So here what we have is, I'm just setting this off to the side. I'm setting this off to the side, right? I feel that this is something that we aren't necessarily expecting. If this reading resonates with you, try to watch yesterday's reading. I'll have that linked at the end of this video, because this card came up in yesterday's reading, and I went into the imagery of the cup being presented by the ethers. And this is hitting me the same exact way that it did in that reading. So definitely check that one out. Here what we have is we have the Five of Pentacles to the Queen of Cups. There is some sort of abandonment, loss, stealing that has happened inside of the psychic spaces. Again, there's a reflection of the people that we've been used to before we put our boundaries up being reflected by the energies in those psychic realms, right? In those more spiritual realms. And this is an energy that someone has battled with for a very long time. This sort of violation of energy is something that I do actually often see with people who resonate with being from someplace else, who have a storyline built in there about being a starseed. Now, that's actually a really complex topic, and I'm not going to go into it in this reading, but there's a lot going on within a person when they have these types of narratives and these stories built in, right? So there's something here about charging forward through a particular energy field that has maybe prevented us from really being able to connect in the way that we were really designed to, which is what this Jupiterian energy is saying is about to happen. So the psychic field that someone experiences is meant to be much bigger, but you've had to strengthen your own boundary first, right? What we're doing there is we're putting the water in the container and making sure that the container is solid before we're exposing it to more elements. Because if we don't, what happens? A person loses themselves, and then that victimization just grows and grows and grows. I will say something that's actually a phenomenon I see sometimes with people who partake in plant medicine too much. What plant medicine does, it's supposed to be a medicine. It's for when you're sick, right? And the abuse of plant medicine, which is to use it all the time or to depend on it in order to function or in order to be emotionally stable or any of those things, which is not what plant medicine is really designed for unless it's being used occasionally for those things. What happens is our aura diffuses. And I've talked about this before in previous videos. I have a Psychic Empath 1 and 2 video, which are, I have cleaned up the catalog of videos. So they're one of the earliest videos on this channel now. And I talk about this in there. So if you are someone who does resonate with being a psychic empath, as many of the people who are resonating with this group of messages I've been doing in January are, really pay attention to that, because what it does is it diffuses your energy. Sure, it dulls your senses and makes you feel fine, and it might even cut you off from certain things that are influencing you. But what happens is that the things that you're not aware of now because you're dulled, they're actually this type of energy. It brings in a very low vibration. And so a lot of people who partake in plant medicine too much, I won't say a lot of people, I'll say that I have noticed a phenomenon with people who partake too much in really not having that solid container, and then in their 3D life they start to go through cycles of victimization that are a little more than what they had done before, what they had gone through before. So just be aware of that, because I'm seeing that showing up for somebody here. I'm seeing this sort of external influence somehow providing this like victimization energy. This is really, when we have the tree, this is us, this is our abundance, this is our growth. And rather than growing, it's got the 5 of Pentacles in it. So it's other energies draining us of our life force or taking energy away. And I do think that whoever this message is for, this was the lesson, and it's a lesson that you've learned. Someone has learned to put those boundaries up. This card is coming out as the significator, right? So you've already learned to put those boundaries up. And as I said in the beginning, it's being backed, it's fixed, it's solid. So you've learned to create that container for yourself, and because you've done that, now you're ready to expand your abilities. Here with the 4 of Cups, I'm sorry, like I said, there's this ability and stuff. It seems to happen very quickly, and it seems to come out of nowhere. I do feel that there is some sort of spirit help, which is why I think that anybody who resonates with this reading should watch yesterday's video, because there was a distinct message in it about something from the other side helping to navigate or helping us along this path that's opening up, and even facilitating it in some ways. And I can kind of see that here, because I'm seeing this as our 3D, and there's something here that has recently opened up. Not only have we opened up in our authenticity of being able to place these boundaries, that's caused something else from this other sign to sort of emerge for us. So this is something that's rather unexpected. This may have happened here towards the end of December, beginning of January, maybe even rather recently here, middle of January when I'm posting this. Middle end? Yeah, middle end of January. Again, notice the tree, right? This tree doesn't have 5 pentacles in it. This tree has cups in it. So it's moving from this physical taking that's happening, or this life force taking that's happening, and now it's this emotional arena, this psychic arena. We're being given something, right? We may not notice it right away because, as I said, it's quite subtle. But as we're busy with these other things here that we're tinkering with psychically, this other thing is being presented and it comes in. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. So if this resonates with you, feel free to like this. Feel free to leave me a comment. And until next time.